Hello and welcome to this tutorial, and in this tutorial we are going to make a simple Android application in order to capture images. So basically in this tutorial we are going to learn how we could capture images in your Android application. So let's say if you are making some application for sharing photos, so in that case you need to access the camera and you also need to access the image which we have just created. So in that case you are going to need to learn how we could use or how we could capture image in our Android application. So go ahead and start a new Android Studio project and let's name it as my camera app. Click next and make sure that you select the API 15 or above. Click next and select a blank activity and click finish. So as you could see, this is the basic layout, and the first thing which we need to do is that we need to add a button right below here in order to take pictures. So the first thing which we do is that we delete the hello world and we drag a small button right here to the bottom. So once we have the button, let's give an ID as well as change the text of the button. So let's go to the properties and let's change the ID to my button, and let's change the text of this button to, let's say, capture. So let's say this is capture. So as you could see, we have a button which is going to capture the images for us. Now the next thing which we need to do is that we need something over here which is going to display the image which we have just captured. So in order to do that, we drag and drop a image view here which is going to display the images. So we drag it and drop it right over here. And now the next thing which we need to do is that we need to give some value to the width and height. So we go down here and inside minimum width and minimum height, we specify the height as, let's say, 300 dp as well as the width as 300 dp. And as you could see, that's our image view right here. And let's say we change the margin. So go to layout margin and let's say the layout margin is only 50 dp. So as you could see, now it's laid out properly. So this is our image view and this is our button. Now what we want to achieve is that whenever we click this capture button, it should capture images for us. So in order to do that, we go here inside the on click of the button. So in the on click, we are going to specify a method that is going to get executed when we click this button. So let's say we name this method as launch camera, as this button is going to launch the camera and take the picture. So once this is done, the next thing which we need to do is that we also need to give an ID to this image view right here. So we select the image view, go to ID, and let's name it as my image view. Now once we have assigned the ID to this, the next thing which we need to do is that we need to make this Android application have the permissions to access camera. So in the previous tutorial, you might know that we have to go into this Android manifest in order to give each and every permission. So the permission which we are going to add is going to be the camera. So we type uses, and in this case, instead of a permission, as a camera is a feature, so we type uses feature and we type Android name, and the name of our feature is nothing but Android dot hardware, as camera is a hardware. So we type Android dot hardware and then we type camera 2, and camera 1 is depreciated, so instead of camera we use camera 2. Now after this we type Android required and we type in true. So this is basically a permission or to access a particular feature for our application. Now once it is done, the next thing which we need to do is that we need to type in the code for what happens or how we capture the image. So we switch on to main activity.java and we do the same thing as we have done for many tutorials. So basically we clean up the code so that it won't confuse us. And the next thing which we need to do is that we need to add a variable for the image capture. So we type static final int and let's name it as request image capture, and let's set this equal to 1. and you'll understand why we are declaring this variable. Now, in order to get a reference to the image view, we also create a variable for image view. So we type image view and let's name it as my image view. Now once we are done setting up the variables, we go inside onCreate and we type our main code. So the first thing is to get the reference. So we also need to have a reference to the button. So we type button and let's name the button as my button. Then we type this equals button to typecast it, and then we type find view by ID in order to get the reference. Then we type r.id dot my button. So once we have a reference to button, we also need to have a reference to the image view. So we type my image view equals, and as this is an image view, we type image view, then find view by ID r.id.my image view. Now once we have the reference to both of these, we could start writing our code for the method which is going to execute when we click the button for capture. So that's it for this tutorial, and in the next tutorial we'll be writing the code for the method for capturing the image. So thank you very much for watching this tutorial, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Thank you.